Hello and welcome to another episode of Geekgo. Today we're going to look at the DOS version of Oil's Well. Just firing up this game brings me a lot of nostalgia. This is one of the first DOS games I ever played. And I played it a lot. When I played this game at a really young age, I didn't know that this was a remake of the original 1983 Oil's Well that was available on the ColecoVision and Commodore 64. This version of course has enhanced graphics and even introduced Slater, the Brachiosaur. I think I'm pronouncing that right. This dinosaur-like creature will return 3 years later in Slater and Charlie Go Camping. Might have to check that game out because I really like this dinosaur and the short cartoons that appear in between each level. Well, let's just take a look at the manual because I've never seen this manual until now and I played this game a lot. We never did have the manual for this game when I was really young, it was just on a floppy disk. So your manual tells you the typical stuff, how to install the game, format the disk, how to set it up, what the items do, and a basic introduction to the game. The manual also tells you about the specific controls that turns on music, sound or cutscene, which can be done at any time after you started the game. And that's actually really useful, being able to, well, turn off the cutscenes, because when the cutscenes start you can't skip them, and they do last, well, a significant amount of time. And if you've already seen the first cutscene more than a few times, you'll be sick of it. You know, you don't want to see it again, but you can't skip it, and they last quite long. So when you start the game, make sure you press the, well, disable cutscene button, and just enable it again when you get to that level where you haven't beaten yet. The manual also has this, well, kinda silly comic book. The story is about Slater, and then all these giant tree killing machines come and destroy the trees, so he runs away and dives down this deep hole where he finds a house and starts living down there. But then the evil human starts trashing his house with these oil pipes and he's like, ah! This is sort of all in line with the humor of all the cutscenes of the game, where you're just being completely mean to this helpless animal that's frankly just, well, he's kinda cute and innocent and you're trashing his home. I'm not sure how this motivates me to carry on playing the game when I'm hurting this helpless creature. On one hand I feel really bad because I'm doing this to him, on the other hand it's, well, really funny. So I guess it helps. So you launch the game and then you're greeted with this, well, catchy tune. Oh yeah, ooh yeah. Let's dance. Next thing you notice is a 1 and 2 player mode, which is essentially just like old arcade games where 2 players take turns. Every time you die, the other player comes in and plays. And also there's a difficulty setting on regular, premium and unleaded. So you start the game and you're greeted with this maze-like map. This game is pretty much a mix of Snake on mobile phones and Pac-Man. Your goal is to eat all the white pellets just like Pac-Man on the screen, navigating through this maze, while the pipe never disconnects from the starting point. If you swallow bombs you die, if bugs or other critters hit the rest of your pipe you die. When you run out of lives and get killed again, it's game over. However, every 10,000 points you get an extra life. The manual likes to call those bombs landmines, but I don't know, they look like a cherry bomb to me, a really big cherry bomb. And also, if they were landmines, who the hell put landmines in pipes? Let it float about, that doesn't make sense. And then of course with the bugs and critters, you got the small bugs and the big ones. And if you go on the hardest difficulty, you get all these giant grasshoppers, millipedes, centipedes and snakes. And they get really long and it's almost impossible to play. Standard difficulty is already hard enough. And let me tell you, when I search online to see videos of this game, only one person decided to record this game and he got about to like level 3 or 4 and never went on. So let me tell you something, there is zero footage of the final few cutscenes on YouTube from this game. Either people didn't bother, or they thought it was too hard, or they didn't think it was worth it. Well, luckily at the end of this video, you will see it because, well, I managed to complete the game. It took me lots of tries because, yeah, it's really difficult. There are 8 levels in this game and each level gets harder and harder. And let me tell you, the only way for you to get through this game is to make sure you get as many points as possible. So you gotta be super fast on the first level and then keep about 1 or 2 pellets left on the map that you can pick up easily, and then, well, just pick up some points. Make sure you pick up those extra oil droplets because they give you 1,000 points, and make sure you eat all the bugs before the time runs out. So just try to get as many points as possible on the first few easy levels. And let me tell you, when the time runs out, you lose a life and your pipe returns to the start position. So if you know you're gonna die because you're gonna run out of time, you might as well go for the hardest to reach pellets, because you're gonna lose a life anyway, and if bugs are coming, it doesn't matter, just try and reach those hard to reach pellets. Might as well not waste that life. And another thing about the difficulty of this game is that sometimes it's really not fair. Those landmines come from left and right, and sometimes, more than once, I was just going to eat the pellets, I hit the edge of the map, and then this mine appears. Of course, you got no warning when these landmines are going to appear. They just appear, and before you know it, you've lost a life. And you feel really irritated because you lost a life just for reaching the pellet on the edge of the map. Another thing about this game is that all the critters spawn randomly, so there's a lot of luck going on here if you can, well, reach those hard to reach distances before more critters appear. The game has 3 types of controls. There's mouse, joystick, and keyboard. When I was a kid, I always played with keyboard because I didn't know there was a setup option because I was a kid. So when I booted up this game again recently, it was on mouse setting. I was like, what the hell is going on? I don't remember using a mouse before. This is a different version. No, it was a setup and I should change it back to keyboard. Some people might find mouse easier because you can point directly at the spot you want to go and click. But DOSBox has some issue with this game. I mean, if you're playing on the original DOS machine using the mouse, it probably is easier. But if you're playing on DOSBox, I can't get it to go right on full screen, and on small screen, the mouse feels really sensitive and awkward, and I just can't play that fast. The upside with the mouse is that it's easier to read harder to reach locations because the pipe goes really fast, and if you're using a keyboard, sometimes you'll miss the spot you want to go in. For example, with the keyboard, if you're trying to reach this corner, and on the same corner, there are other paths right next to it, and you keep missing the one you want to go into, you think, oh, it's really irritating, and you press the spacebar to go backwards, but then you go back too far, and then you can't go in the pipe, and it's really sensitive. The pipe movements are really fast and sensitive, so it's really hard to get in those tight spots. But the downside of the mouse is, well, like I said, there's some sort of movement issue of sensitivity. I would have liked it a lot if this game would let me, say, use mouse and keyboard at the same time instead of going back to setup. But I guess that's a bit of a cheating thing, I guess. So, would I recommend this game? Hell yes! After all these years, this game has held up really well. And the difficulty, yes, is really hard, but you know, if you keep at it, you will manage to complete this game. And let me tell you, I must have spent like 10 hours trying to get to the last level just to find that final cutscene. And while the final cutscene is a bit but it's a warm heart cutscene. It's a nice cutscene. You feel good in the end. So it's really worth it to beat this stupid game difficulty. So yeah, really, check it out. It's a really small game. It's a DOS game that fits on a floppy disk, for crying out loud. You get more hours of entertainment from this than Halo 4. And you can look at the bright colors, the nice graphics, and the funny cutscenes in the middle. Seriously, get this game! Well, that's that. Hey, what's that sound? Ah! Hey, get up! No! Oh, hi, neighbor. Oh, God, what do you want? Hey, just passing through. Dick.